on the phone, I get feedback from the clients and members, and so we're hoping that this time if you have questions, please ask them. That'll help drive the process along. And so if you've any questions or you need clarification, I'll be glad to do so. We're going to have plenty of time for questions, and so we'll hopefully be chatting for about a half hour, 40 minutes or so. And then if you've questions anytime during or after, I'll be glad to help. For those that don't know, my name is Jose Galvin. I do technical support here at eVetSites and have been working here for a few years. Part of what I do is help folks with their SEO and their Google presence. And what we do, what we like to do is empower our clients to be able to do these things themselves. We know that there's a lot of information out there, and we can't do everything through this general orientation, but we're going to strive to get you some information on, at least get you started, and hopefully we can set up a time to set up an individual consult. One of the first things I wanted to start off with is we were going to go ahead and, we get asked this question a lot. In the last session, we had somebody ask, well, what's the very first thing I have to do when, when I'm trying to improve my SEO? Well, most of you have probably already done it. Today I'm going to be using, as you've noticed, one of our doctors, who's actually my doctor. She takes care of my cat. So this is Dr. Katie True. She's been gracious enough to let me use her site as a kind of a guinea pig or a test to show and illustrate some of the things that we can do. And I'm going to use our hometown of Sacramento and the greater Sacramento area as sort of a test here. When someone does a search for example, I don't know, Sacramento and veterinarian, everyone does the same thing. You go out, you type a couple of search terms, and then you get these results. I'm going to go over some of the general things first, and then we'll dive into the things that we can do on the site to improve your search. When you do a search, Google catalogs sites, it looks at the content and comes up with a result. The first thing you'll see, and you probably already know about this, are these ads. These are things that folks have paid for. The folks here at Discovery Animal Hospital or the VCA have paid so that when this certain combination arrives, they show up in these results up here. Sometimes these ads are off to the right. Google moves them around a bit, and it's not on every search, but in this case, these ads are the first things that show up. And then the next step is these geographic results. This has to do with the map, and this is the reasons for ranking on the map. In general, are your actual geographic location in relation to the city core, as well as the ratings. So, for example, you'll notice that these folks here, VCA, have several stars, and these guys just have 4. So that comes into play as well. Because Sacramento is, it encompasses, I live on this side of the river here in West Sacramento. The BIN offices are over here in Davis. Google is looking at the stuff that's closest to the city center. So these folks out here that are in Foothill Farms are farther away from the middle of town. That's why they rank a little bit lower. A lot of people don't know this, and sometimes folks will be upset with me, and they'll say, well, why can't I rank higher? Well, short of you packing up the practice and putting it on the back of a moving truck, it's going to be difficult to do so. So, all I'll say is, for the map results, make sure to, and I'll try and get more into this in a little bit, but to make sure that you have a Google presence. If you can, encourage folks to leave you feedback, and that'll help out. Okay, if we go back, this is the main results right here, the Google search results. This is what most everyone thinks about when they, then they're discussing the search terms. This right here, this is the stuff that counts. And we see that Dr. True is on the first page, so this is fantastic. This is good for her, good for us, good for everyone involved. We'll see that there's some other things up here. South Sacramento Pet Hospital. It looks like the directory, Yelp, the review site seems to have several things in there. I'll go ahead and use this opportunity to let you know that if you ever encounter someone that guarantees a #1 spot on Google, please be wary. It's really hard to pinpoint that sort of thing because it's hard to know the search terms or the algorithms that Google is actually using for these things. And what I mean is that they are, while they are in general using things like content and your location and things like that to come up, they're always moving around and shifting value from one thing to another. Something you may notice is if you look at a site is that they'll talk about mobile friendliness, and if a site doesn't have mobile friendly design, it's not going to rank as high on a mobile device. Obviously, I can't show you my iPhone right now, but if you folks have one, you may have seen that come up. That's because they want to, Google wants to improve the experience for everyone that's searching. So again, this doctor has made it to the front page, and maybe Dr. True wants to do better. I'm sure she probably does. She's just a busy woman, and we haven't spoken in a while. But if she wants to do better, then we need to talk about the things to do to make it better. And so we'll go ahead and jump into that right now. A lot of the rules that Google uses to rank a site are really simple. Basically, the content on your site is the biggest one. If you've got the word veterinarian and if you've got the term Sacramento, then you're in the running for the search, Sacramento veterinarian. I just did a quick search on the home page, and we see Sacramento showing up 7 times. Now, Google ranks the content from all the pages on your site. The employment page, the spay and neuter, the clinic forms, all of this stuff goes into, it's all factored in when Google decides how to rank a website. The other thing is, how many times a search term appears. Perhaps somebody has Sacramento on their entire site, including the home page and the About Us and everything. So let's say Dr. True has it on here 100 times, and these other folks down the road have it 10 times. Well, they're going to rank, depending on how many times that term is there, that'll improve their chances. So, and these guys right here, Del Paso, this isn't even close to it. It's kind of north of Sacramento. So that's interesting that they're doing so well. So what we can do then is find ways to increase the terms, and there's ways of doing this without having to repeat it over and over and over again. The first thing is, for example, we've got this little logo. If every image is an opportunity to increase your reach. On our site, we've got some tips on this, and if you go to eVetSiteHelp.com under SEO and image descriptions, I've got some kind of how-tos on how to do this. We won't spend too much time looking at the page. I'm just going to walk you through how to do it. But every image is an opportunity to increase the times that the search terms appear, and it'll be a little more. It'll hopefully help visitors to your site find the content that they're looking for. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to log into the site. I seem to have gotten the jump on it already, so let me start over really quick here. If you're at a website, down in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see the key. Click on the key, and then you're going to put in your username and password there. I've got a shortcut here, so I'm just going to go ahead and cheat here because this is how we can go ahead and get in. Okay, so then again, I'm going to go to the page that we're working on, and I'm going to add what's called an image tag or alt text. I click on Edit Content. I find the image and double click on it. This section here, image description, is where we can go ahead and then talk about the image in question. Since this is kind of a generic, well, not a generic, kind of a general page, we're talking about the practice. You know, it's about Midtown. So now we've got Sacramento and Animal Hospital. We don't have veterinary or veterinarian, but that's okay. We're increasing it, you know, one bit at a time. So there, now I've added that content, and we've got Sacramento on the page one more time. You know, it's just that one more small step towards catching up with who's the next people on our list. El Paso Vet Clinic. They'll be they may be nice people, but for the purposes of this exercise, they're our target. Okay, so then does anyone have questions about what I've done so far? I see that we've added some more folks. I can have someone on the team go ahead and relay those over to me. Okay, the next step is to actually change the content on the page. This is a perfect example. When I see we, you know, I tell people sometimes this is sort of like Mad Libs. We is a perfect opportunity to say something else. So, and this right here is a perfect opportunity. These pronouns here, for all the writers in the audience, a perfect opportunity to put in something else. It's not just about us, but now it's about Midtown Animal Hospital. So we have Animal Hospital in one more time. The other thing, and I love seeing these pronouns like we, is how about our so we've repeated veterinary, but that's okay. You know, you can. The point is that instead of it just saying we, you're actually now using the word veterinarian. So now we've included the word veterinarian one more time. Some of you may see this text and think, hey, this is familiar. This is the stuff that's on my site. Well, we start out with some pretty decent stock text, but of course we encourage everyone to change it and to customize it and to make it your own. These are things that will improve your SEO, and it'll improve your ranking, because people will see that it's an actual, honest-to-goodness, real folks that are behind there. It's not like these other big businesses that it's kind of cut and paste from one to the other. So now we've got we've added this page. We've changed it. Now it says veterinarians and veterinary, whereas before it didn't. Now it says Midtown Animal Hospital here, and when we mouse over, we've added Midtown Animal Hospital in Sacramento. So that didn't take too long. It wasn't too technical, and we can go ahead and do the same thing throughout the pages as we go down. Now, what's going to happen is this. You're going to change this page, and usually somebody will ask, well, hey, Jose, how long does it take? This process, how long does this process take? Well, for Google to find the page, they're usually crawling your site regardless. Yeah. If you're looking at a bunch of search results, you'll see this little triangle. If you hit the arrow and click cached, it looks like they came by on the 22nd. Now, it may be that some content has changed in that time. I don't think that anything has changed on the front page, but let's say there were some changes on another page. Google will search each page, and it'll have different search dates for these, and it'll increase those depending on how often you update the site, or if you have a thing called Google Webmaster Tools. Google Webmaster Tools is a free service. We can help you set this up, and it's a way where you can actually tell Google, hey, we just updated the page. Come take a look at the site. And there is a way where you can actually ask for something to be crawled. You can just go to this screen, and don't spend too much time worrying about this. Let us do the work for you. We can set up Google Analytics as well, which is a companion product. And so on this particular page, the About Us, we're almost ready for it to be crawled. I can go ahead and tell them, hey, come by, take a look at it. And what Google will do is go out. A quick note on that process. So when Google crawls a site or indexes it, what these terms mean is that they're basically cataloging the content on the site. Think of it as like if you ever worked a retail job where you had to do the, just do the inventory for all the products in the store, checking to see how much stock you have on these things. That's what Google is doing. It's going out and it's putting all these words, all these images, whatever sort of media is on there, and it's putting them in a big bucket. It just makes this big file, and they call it midtownanimalhospital.com. Now, after a while, depending on how many words are in this bucket, you have a bigger target. So if you have a varied group of terms, then you're going to be a bigger target for people to search. I don't recommend people spend a lot of time worrying about individual search terms. You can certainly use it as a focus, but I'm worried more about getting, covering all the different terms that people are looking for, or more terms. So for example here, medical, surgical, dental care, they're talking about what they're doing and where they do it. On the home page, some of you may have noticed that it talks about the towns that they service. So our neighbors here in Midtown Sacramento, as well as clients coming from West Sacramento, that's me, Davis, Carmichael, Fair Oaks, and Elk Grove, which is a community that's south of Sacramento. So she's kind of reaching out to these different areas. There's some communities that maybe she didn't want to reach, and there's others that she did. We've kind of chatted before. She's got a little advantage because she's here in Davis, so she'll stop by my office. But if you know the communities near you, you know, that'll come up in our conversation. You'll know what better your community, the surrounding towns, and things like that. So you can go ahead and we can have that conversation about how we can include that on your home page. And you may want to put something like, you know, we serve the communities of A, B, C, and D for the last X years. She hasn't put, you know, how long. Oh, here it is. Located in Sacramento for 50 years. So this is sort of split up. You can do it however you want. There's a lot of different ways of doing this. I'm just throwing out a couple of different examples to show you. And again, this isn't technical. This is just we're logging into the site, we're clicking edit content, and then we're looking to see, you know, what the different communities are serviced. No questions. You guys are a good bunch. Okay. Everyone clear on what we're covering so far? Or what I've covered so far, sorry. So again, the images on this page, if you'd like to print this page, you can. I've got some specifics here, like for a staff member, you know, we put in the veterinary clinic, Anytown, California, our practice manager, Joe. Maybe for a piece of equipment, we're going to put in veterinary clinic, Anytown, California. We offer laser surgery. That's a big deal. And then also on the home page, of course, you know, veterinary clinic, veterinarians, or veterinarian if you're a single doctor practice, serving town, village, neighborhood, and borough. You know, welcome to our site. So this is a simple way of helping out your SEO and helping folks find things that are there. All right, Marissa has her hand up. Let's see here.
Marissa, I've unmuted you if you want to speak into your microphone. A reminder.
Marissa?
Oh, she typed in the question. Is the Google Webmaster tools on the Google Analytics site?
Is the Google Analytics tools on the Analytics site? They're two separate sites. Google Webmaster Tools is one tool, and Google Analytics is another. They're both free, and you can use them both. We have them both here. We're on a project right now of adding every eVetSites user on there. And so if we haven't reached you, let us know, and we can do that. If you folks have a Google account, and I would definitely recommend if you do, we can then share that access with you, so you can see all the data and do updates yourself. Really quickly, because I'm trying to keep this at a more of an intro level for this orientation. Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools sort of do different things. What Google Webmaster Tools does is it's a way of improving your search. It's a way of communicating with Google, and it'll also index the page. It'll tell you about what's going on in there. Analytics is more about, and I don't even have Midtown on here. I'm going to look at another one. This one is more about the traffic going through the site. So in other words, where people start on the page, what operating systems they're using, and things like that. So it's a little more in depth. When folks are just starting out, I we'll definitely install both of them for you, but I recommend spending more time with the Google Webmaster tools. So they're at 2 locations. I hope that answered that question. Let me go ahead and see here. Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. Next thing I wanted to share with you folks, and again, I've only worked on 2 pages here, like the home page and the About Us. If you have pages like a doctor that are hidden, or that's fine. Maybe you've got one that you're working on. Let me go ahead and see. I don't want to put her on blast. Okay, she hasn't put her staff on. But if you're looking for content to do, this is low-hanging fruit. Everybody has a selfie. I know the front desk. They're all on Instagram and Snapchat and everything. So we find some appropriate selfies for the crew, and we'll put them on there. Every image is one more opportunity for folks to find you. And this is and again, I want to go ahead and we'll use Sacramento Veterinarian. If you notice, a lot of times folks will just use the All tab up here, but there's this images here. And as you can see, so hey, look, here's Midtown. So they're showing up. People search through images to get to the site. They'll go like this, and then they'll go to the page. So don't think, so the images count, especially for things like, you may have done this already, looking for a restaurant to see what it looks like, looking for, in my case, a playground for the kids to see what it's like. You'll do a search. How about this one? If anyone on the call is doing boarding, then you want to put your best foot forward. Have something show up, and this is gonna help you with that, because then all these images have been tagged and they're showing up for that. And it seems like it's a small thing, but it can really push you ahead. Really, SEO is all about a lot of these small steps, kind of pushing toward this big cumulative grade. Okay, so moving on from content and the images, I want to talk about something called titles. So if we go back to the search, you're all familiar with this screen. You've seen it 1,000 times. I'm going to show you where these fields come from on your site. A lot of people don't know that you actually have full control over this. So let me go ahead and switch my windows around a little. Okay, so if you're logged into your site, and if you have 2 monitors, this is better. But if you have one, you can still do this. If you go to Edit menu on your website, and if you haven't used this before, I'll give a quick recap of what Edit menu does. Edit menu is where you can add pages. So if you wanted to add or remove a page, maybe you wanted to move a page, under another directory, this is where you can do it. If you notice, these are doctors. They have the brackets around them, the parentheses. That's because they're hidden. So here is where you can create pages. You can rename them. You can move them just by dragging and dropping, and all that sort of thing. Now, as this pertains to SEO, here is where this content comes from. So if we look over to the left, we see Midtown Animal Hospital, Sacramento, California, veterinarian, veterinary, etc. See this field here? This is where it comes from. So the title field is the first big blue blotch here that you see. We've of course SEO'd it out. We've put in terms that are on the page. We've put them in the order that's important so that people can see it. This is the home page, but the home is like the last thing on here, because really we want folks to see that it's in Sacramento, it's a veterinarian, and it's a hospital. This blue, and so let me slow down. The title, whatever page you're on, make sure that the title has, at the very least, has the name of the practice and what the page is about. If we go to About Us, hey, look, there's something there. Contact us. Hey, here's an area of opportunity. And so here, you can use the dash. You can also use the pipe symbol. The pipe symbol is on your keyboard above the backslash, the one that looks like that. So if you're looking at your keyboard, that's where you can get that symbol. Some people have really strong opinions about it. I'm an energy conservationist, so it's less keystrokes, just hit the dash. So here it is. We're telling the truth. We're using content that's on there. Midtown Animal Hospital, it's in Sacramento, California. Contact us. Now, and I'm going to go ahead and save my menu. Now, if you put your mouse over the tab on a browser, you'll see it pop up. That's the same as if you were looking at this one right here. Also for this, I've also got a document for this as well. There it is. And I'm also going to put in the other one for the image description, since in case you folks needed that one. So again, the page title is this blue thing. It's an important element. It's an important part of SEO. The title element is displayed in the results pages. Again, I'm going to include some examples here. Able Pet Clinic, your Elk Grove Neighborhood Veterinarian Home. For the doctors, you may have something like this, Elk Grove, California. And let's say you've got something that's a little long. I'm trying to think of some procedures, but I can't. I'm a geek, not a doctor. Dr. Bartels would be better suited to find some name of a large, really long medical procedure. But here, you notice that we've changed the order around. We put prescription refill online at the beginning, and we put Elk Grove, California at the end, because Google truncates the characters around 6 or 70 characters. So what happens is, if you're typing stuff in there, it'll disappear. Now, I've used a lot of editors. In my spare time, my wife volunteers me for things, and so I do, I'll do websites for Little League or church or whatever. And I've used some other editors, and the eVetSites one is awesome because it has this feature. Not very many have it as easy as this. In fact, I can't find one that actually has this feature that tells you, well, you're going to run out of space, right? So, and this is an approximate thing, but it'll help you, because it'll say, okay, well, this will be the last word, right? That third hello, we're going to stop. We're not going to do it, and then you save it there. You'll still rank for the terms that are in there, but they just won't display. So if you're, if you're looking at the results here, let's say this word was, I don't know, cantaloupe or something, and you did a search for cantaloupe, you would still rank for cantaloupe, but you just wouldn't see it. And the important thing is that, of course, cantaloupe be on the page. I'm going to show you folks a trick now for helping these, when you're working with the titles. It'll hopefully help out a little bit. This is also a great trick to use if you're looking for something on a particular website but you don't remember where something was. If you do site, colon, and then the name of the page. Let me put that back in here. So site, colon, name of the page, and whatever it is that you're looking for. Let's say the term is feline. There it is. So it finds that one page. How about Elk Grove? Find the home page. I don't think they do boarding because but let's just do it just for fun, just to see what it does. Okay, so they do the inpatient boarding. So this is for their clients, so that's good. Okay, so what I'm going to show you, if I do site and then the domain, you'll see where your areas of opportunity are. Here is where you can actually see which pages need it. We have some sort of prizes. I would offer one to see whoever can figure out which page needs work. So I'll just as you can see, the home page looks good. The site search looks all right. Hospitals policies is decent, but you see there's still room to put things in here. For links and FAQs, there's room to put in some information. And if we're trying for world dominance, or at least Sacramento dominance, let's put that in there. See how it just says links here? Let's change this. So you can do that. Use this this as a sort of like a template just to help you out, and you can sort of see what they use, and you can improve the titles. Again, you can use any symbol you want to split it up. It doesn't have to be, and it doesn't even have to be this format every time. You can do something like this. Where it's kind of like a little phrase, What's important to remember, and I don't know if I've used this term yet in this talk, is that Google is really big on a term called relevance. What relevance means is that the stuff that you put in, that you say is going to show up on the page, because this is kind of like a preview, right? It's kind of like when you go into the mall, you see the map of stuff, and it says there's a shoe store here, there's this, that, and the other. You sort of expect it to be there, and if you get there and, oh, hey, they said there was an Apple store here, there's nothing here. People will be upset, and you've probably done searches where you end up somewhere, and this isn't what we wanted. Well, so this links here. If the page has links, or you say that the page has links, then there better be links here, and there are. And you talk about these links here, following links to websites. So this is fantastic. You don't want to do something to rig the system. Not that any of you would. This is the what not to do, especially now since Cincinnati Zoo is very upset about that whole situation. And but this is just not the truth. You're not putting content on there that you're alluding to. It's one thing to make an innocent mistake. Maybe you're saying, I don't know, this is a page about vaccination, and maybe there's nothing on there about vaccination. But Google doesn't know that. They don't have a way of knowing our hearts and minds. They're just looking at the terms, and matching them up, and they're just checking to make sure that they have that content. So if you do your titles, again, I put the link there in the chat window. Bookmark that page, print it out. If you have questions, let me know. That's probably one of the more important ones because it is so big. It's the first thing you see. When you're doing a search, you've got this big blue link just reaching out at you. And the other thing is that if you only have like a short deal like this is half the size. Your mouse is going to hit it, right? This becomes even more important when you're on a smartphone. You have a small title, smaller target. A klutz like me, when I'm poking around on my phone, maybe I'll miss it. I'll click somebody else. There goes that potential client. Let's go ahead and see here. How's everyone with what I've covered so far? Does anyone have any questions about the titles? Okay. And again, if you have some afterwards, that's fine. Would love to set up a one-on-one with all of y'all. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to talk a little bit about are these other fields in here. We're going to stay in the same spot. We're going to talk a little bit about these page slugs. Now, this page slug is just this thing right here. So see how it says links, PML, FAQs, search. These are your slugs, and this will help too. We have some default ones in here because that's sort of the default page. But if you add new pages, you can certainly go more into depth. So, for example, let's say Dr. True brings me on. She wants a social media guy, and so she wants to introduce, so you could do something like this. So we can have Jose be in here. And so then this can be part of it. This is going to be the term as well. So these are things that you can go ahead and look at to improve and if there's a term, maybe there's a product, maybe there's a service, maybe there's something that you want to go ahead and talk about. When you're creating a page, go ahead and you can modify it there. I have sort of a 3-in-1 on this Google page. So the titles are part of it, and we also have a thing here on the page slugs. I've mentioned Google, the Google's focus on mobile-friendly pages. Slugs are really important there because, again, that's what you're using. So you see here, here's what the eVetSites site results look on my phone. I tilt it sideways and take a screenshot. Contact info, website design, about eVetSites. So this is the green part in there, your page slug. You want to make sure that it's not just page 1 or new page 11 or whatever. Put something in there that sort of matches what the page is about, because that does help a little. Okay. No, does anyone have any questions about that one? All right. Now we're going to move on. Final thing is going to be this description. And if you notice, I'm just scanning along for my own document. Page description is the text that we see over here on the left. Because of the shorter lifespan of our pets, full service veterinary practice, frequently asked questions. You actually have control over this. And again, this comes from the description here. Notice that when I created this new page, it just by default put this in here. Some of you that have had us for a while may have had different information in there, something about a starter site or you know, eVetSites 3 or something like that. The nice thing about the description is that Google kind of does the work for us. What it does is it'll check the content, and then if it doesn't like what the description is, or if it says, you know what, this doesn't match, instead of penalizing you, what it'll do is it'll just pull content from the page itself. I'll show you folks in a second here. Let me delete this page first. So here is one where they use the description that's on there. Full service veterinary practice, specializing in small animal health care. You see here that it tops out after highest. Right here, you'll see that it kind of clunks out. So there's more on there, but it still will rank for those things. If we go to links, no, okay, so here you notice that the doctor, or maybe myself, used the same term. So this is, since this text doesn't really match what's on that particular page, Google went ahead and did it themselves, in addition to the pet healthcare library. So see how they grabbed the content from there? This is good and bad. I mean, you can let them do that, but then you're sort of ceding control. You're letting them go ahead and pick, you know, whatever is the first page on your site, or the first couple of sentences on that page. And maybe that's not really the heart of the matter. Maybe that's sort of an intro. Maybe you're getting right to the, you know, the nugget or the lead right in the middle of the page. So whenever possible, just write a short sentence here about what the page is about. If you want to just cut and paste a sentence or two from there, that's fine. You can even do like a little composite sentence, you know, talking about the links. Let me go ahead and click here. In addition to the pet healthcare library, maybe we wanted to just start here. I'm not a fan of the passive voice, but here we're going to have to. Midtown Animal Hospital has provided the following link to the website to provide some great information. So again, we're going over that limit, but now we're going to have the name of the practice in there one more time. And so whereas now it just says we, I saw the pronoun and I changed it. Now it's going to start here. Midtown Animal Hospital has provided the following links to websites. So hopefully we'll get a little, this will be a little more fine-tuned. And you can do the same thing on your pages. Again, try not to just pepper it with a bunch of random search terms separated by commas. Use conversational English, because what's going to happen is humans are going to read it. When somebody does a search, these are the screens that they're going to see. It's kind of like if I were to begin this presentation and instead of, you know, trying to put things together in a sentence, I just throw out relevance, algorithms, Google, API, search, crawl. You know, you'd be like, well, who's this robot? This doesn't make any sense. But if we try to, you know, put some sort of an order in there, and you speak to your visitors like this, then that's going to help out. Holy moly, we're up on an hour already. I know we've just touched on some of these things, and there's probably many more questions. Does anyone have questions about what I've covered so far? And Tammy, if you're listening, I can't find my chat screen. Okay, if you've more questions, since I know we're coming up on the hour and we don't want to go over in case somebody's there's a lot more that we can do. I don't want you to think that it's just these three things. This was meant to be sort of an introduction. I know we've talked a little about it. This is what we've discussed today is more your local or your on-site SEO. There's also things that you can do off-site with marketing. Links to your site from things like Yelp and Bing and different search engines. I covered some of those things in the last presentation. I'll be happy to go over those things with you so we can cover all of it. There's always something you can do, and I don't ever want you folks to think that it's beyond your reach. This is all, once you get past the technical terms, it's really just writing, common sense, telling people what it is that you do and where you do it. Okay, well, if no one has any questions, I want to thank you all again. If anyone would like to shoot an email toward me or to the team, support@eVetSites.com. Also invite you to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/eVetSites, and we're also on Twitter, twitter.com/eVetSites. We'd love to hear from you all.
Jose, this is Tony. Can you hear me?
Oh, hello.
Hi. So Stacy has a question. How do we know if we have Google Webmaster accessibility?
If you have Google Webmaster accessibility?
That's what Stacy typed in the question screener.
You'll know because if you go to Google Webmaster Tools, google.com/webmasters, when you log in, it's gonna let you know if you'll see it there. So, for example, so here's eVetSiteHelp.com, and I've got access to it. I'll see it there. If you have a question about an individual domain, we of course can help you with that. Does that help out? Oh, great. Here we go. Some more questions. Hi, Stacy. Can we listen to previous webinars? Yes, those are available at eVetSites.com. Under orientation sessions. So you'll see the content here. And we're uploading them on YouTube. The one that I did today is vastly different to the one I did a couple of weeks ago, so I invite you to listen to them both or to view them. And so hopefully that helps out. You're very welcome. Thank you, Dr. Denton. Thank you, Dr. Stantz. Thank you, Dr. Kogler. Anyone else have any questions? I know we went over a little bit, and sorry for the late start on it. I appreciate all of you hanging out. If you'd like to say hello in person, we're going to be in Kansas City for the CVC. We'd love to say hello. Okay. Thank you again. Appreciate all of you coming out today.